I'm Janet Mercredi, and I'm excited to be presenting to you today as a guest of the Successful Bookkeeper Summit 2022. And today, I'm speaking to you about how my business sucked until I did this one thing. And this one thing was quite simple, but without knowing it, I had resisted it for many years. All those painful years, I was working really hard for very little. That one thing was systemizing my business, because prior to systemizing, I thought I knew what a bookkeeping business was supposed to look like. I thought it was quite simple. Get clients, take their receipts, input the receipts, and turn out some reports. But it wasn't until I systemized my firm did I realize that I was doing it all wrong, because I was doing my work based on my clients' processes, not on my own processes. So before we get going today, I would like to ask you, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you decide to run a bookkeeping business? Let me know in the comments. Ask yourself questions like, is it to run your own schedule? Is it for financial security? Is it to leave a legacy for your family? It's great. Thank you. Yes, I love reading the comments. For me, I started my business for all three of those reasons. But more specifically, as my husband and I enter into the empty nest portion of our lives, I want to replace his employment income so that he and I can do whatever we want, knowing our kids are taken care of, but also enjoy ourselves before we get too old to do it. So the reason I ask this question is because when we are talking about adding systems to our business, we need to keep our end goal in mind, because it's very easy for us business owners to get inundated with working in our business that we forget about working on our business. And that is precisely what systemizing your business is. It's the working on. And as I go on to explain why you need it, I want you to keep your answers in the forefront of your mind. So tell me, what do you think are some benefits to systemizing your business? Let me know in the comments. Great, thank you. Off the top of my head, the benefits of systematizing are time, energy, efficiency, and control. So for the next 30 minutes or so, I am going to speak to you about how systemizing gave me more control over my business. We'll also hear from Sarah, where her and I discuss some myths we hear quite often about systemizing. And finally, we'll learn from Jennifer about the benefits of how systemizing helped her firm. Are you ready? Thumbs up in the comments if you're ready to get going. Now, who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, like you, I own a bookkeeping firm, but I was caught in my own trap of drowning in client emails, deadlines, and phone calls. I just didn't realize it at the time. I thought that was what a bookkeeping business was supposed to look like. So I am the owner and CEO of my firm, JKM Strategies, Inc. And in today's talk, I'm going to take you on my journey of the one thing I did so that I could better manage my time, get back my energy I had lost, and how I created efficiencies in my business. I am also a coach for the Accelerate to Advisor Mastermind program, which is a 12-month program where we take bookkeepers from where they are now to where they want to be. Or as I like to say, we help bookkeepers look like rock stars to their clients. I hope you will join us for our next masterclass, and I will provide a link in the comments at the end of this talk to show you how to join it. And I am a certified Profit First professional, which means I work with business owners who are caught in the trap of trying to keep up because there is never enough money. I help them structure their business finances using simple cash flow strategies so they can pay themselves from their business, pay their taxes, pay down debt, and create a predictable, sustainable profit each and every month so they can live the life they truly desire. And I am also a big believer in you can have anything you want in your life, you just need to plan for it. And full disclosure, when I'm talking about systemizing my business, I'm not saying I wrote my system from scratch, although you can. But I am a PBS licensee, and I fully believe that their system was the catalyst in me seeing what I wanted, and it gave me the action steps to actually do it. And honestly, for me, there's no better feeling than that. So why did I finally make the change? Well, back in 2019, I was struggling. I was dealing with feelings of shame, and I was embarrassed. But of course, I didn't show it on the outside, right? Because we never do that. I was gaining back the 90 pounds I had once lost, and I didn't see an end in sight as to how to get out of this endless cycle. Each time a client would call me, I would stop what I was doing to answer their call. And then I would spend an hour or more doing the work they needed done in the spur of the moment. After many years of being interrupted with those client phone calls, while attending my children's sporting events, I might add, and missing out on family fun on the weekends because I had receipts to enter and deadlines to meet, I took a step back and I looked at my business and my life, and I soon realized it was the exact opposite of why I took the plunge into entrepreneurship in the first place. And you know what else I realized? It sucked. Most of what I was doing at the time was not working. And to be honest, I was lying to myself. So what I did was I looked for who had the business and life I wanted. And I asked them how they got there. For me, that person was Lisa Campbell, the owner of the Accelerate to Advisor Mastermind program. And she said it was quite simple. All I needed to do was systemize my business. Systemize my business? I didn't understand what she meant. I was like, but I already do that. I know exactly what I do for each of my clients, and I just do it. It's like I'm on autopilot doing my work each month because it's in my head. Can you relate to me on this? Let me know in the chat with the hashtag #InMyHead if you know what you need to do for each client without having to write it down, but rather you go off memory of the previous month's work. Yeah. See, I knew you got me. Yeah, it's true. We know exactly what needs to be done without having to look at a piece of paper to tell us, right? But then Lisa asked me 3 simple questions. She asked, when do your clients contact you? How do they give you their paperwork? And when do you do the work? I replied with, whenever they feel like it. Usually they drop off a box of papers, again, whenever they feel like it. And I do the work as soon as I get it because usually it was late and I knew I was in a time crunch to complete it. But now, when I'm looking back, honestly, I've lost count of the number of times I would be working at my desk in my basement office and my husband would hand deliver me a plate of food to eat while I worked. Right? All the while, I could hear him and the kids upstairs talking about their day, laughing and telling stories while spending their time together eating supper, and I was downstairs working away at my computer because I had deadlines to meet. And the lies I told myself. Oh, it's okay. I have control over this workload. Or, once I get more clients, it'll be different. And the biggest one? I'm building a business for my kids so that we can lead the life we truly wanted to lead as a family. But I'm here to tell you, I was wrong. I wasn't doing any of those things. I was simply churning out work and I was spinning my wheels. So it wasn't long into that conversation that I realized just what my problem was, and that is I didn't have set boundaries with my clients. And in that split second, I began to resent them. I mean, really. I was missing out on supper with my family, so they didn't have to miss out on supper with theirs. I was missing out on going to the movies with my kids on a Saturday afternoon, so they didn't have to miss out on doing similar activities with their kids. Tell me you can relate to this. Let me know in the comments. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So for me, it was like a light bulb went on. And even though I thought I had control, I really didn't, because I was allowing my clients to dictate to me when I did my work for them. And in that moment, I realized I needed to take back control of my business and my life so that I could do what I wanted, which was spend quality time with my family. Now, I am not much for surprises. In fact, I thrive when I have a routine, which is why I love the bookkeeping industry, because it's a routine. I mean, every month we do the same tasks for our clients. We reconcile the bank statements, we match bank feeds, and we create reports, right? And yes, the side effect is that I know I'm providing an essential service to business owners to grow their business and live their own dreams. That's the warm and mushy part of it. But the truth is, I do truly love what I do. And as much as I come across as an extroverted person, there are moments when I relish sitting in front of the computer just doing my work. And I like to think that I'm always in control. I mean, I'm a wife, a mom, a business owner, and I'm a planner. I plan everything that we do. From organizing the kids' activities so my husband knew who he was driving to where and for what activity, to planning when to work on my client files so that I'm not missing deadlines. It's not uncommon for our paper calendar hanging on the wall to have everyone's schedules written on it so that no one in my house could ask, what were we doing today? But as much as that paper calendar made me think I had control, I really didn't. Because amidst all of those activities, my mind was constantly racing with thoughts of the client work I had to do, how long it would take me to do it, and when I would find time to do it. So even though I was physically at my daughter's ringette game, I wasn't mentally. I was consistently distracted. Systemizing my business gave me more control because once I systemized my tasks I had to do for each of my clients, it not only allowed me to visually see the tasks in a chronological order, but also the time it was taking me to do each task. I remember when I first saw my calendar after I systemized my business, I cried. I literally cried. Yes, it was tears of joy, but I still cried. It was my aha moment because I felt this heavy weight had finally lifted, and I just felt so much relief that I expressed it through my tears. My entire work life was organized on my calendar, so I knew exactly what I needed to do and when I needed to do it. And so by implementing a system, it freed my mind from stress. I no longer worried about missing client deadlines or putting out fires for clients because I was now so systemized, there were no fires. I know you have all heard the saying, there are no emergencies in accounting. Let me know in the comments if you've heard that, or even if you've said it yourself. Yeah, I know, we've all heard it. But here's the kicker. I realized after systematizing my business that the emergencies my clients were giving me were not their emergencies. They were mine because I hadn't given them direction on when to send me their paperwork. I hadn't explained when their work reports would be done, which basically meant I hadn't created a routine for them to follow. So in short, I hadn't taught them how I wanted to be treated because up to this point, it was a free-for-all. That's why systemizing my business has done for me. It gave me back my control. It gave me back my time and my energy, and it helped me to create efficiencies I didn't know I could do before. Now, before we keep going, I'd like to know where you are in your journey. Tell me in the comments, how many years have you been in business? Great, awesome. Okay, thank you. I ask this because a common question I receive is, how many years into my business should I be before I add systems? And I usually reply with, there's no time like the present. Because here's the thing. The system you choose to implement is going to add value for you regardless of where you are in your journey. And we need to keep that in mind when you're adding systems to your business. It's not a one and done task. The system will evolve as your business evolves. Right? Does that make sense? Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So for me, it was 4 years into my business. I started my bookkeeping business in 2015 when I was still working a full-time job, like how most of us start. In 2018, I quit my full-time job and I went out on my own. And let me tell you, if I had known then what I know now, I would have systemized my business back in 2015 while still working full-time because it would have saved me so much stress. But just like anything in life, right? When you're venturing into a new opportunity, even though you've researched it and you know what you want to do, you don't know what you don't know. So on that note, let's hear from Sarah, who systemized her business after 15 years into it. And later we'll hear from Jen, who was 7 years into it. The most important thing to understand is that it doesn't matter if you've been in business for 1 year or 20 years, if you have one client or 100 clients. Systemizing is crucial to your business so that you can organize your time and your tasks. So now I'm going to share my screen and we'll talk with Sarah. Then we'll come back together. Hi, Sarah. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Janet. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I want to thank you, first of all, for taking the time to speak with me today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Great. Well, and for people who might not know you, I would like to introduce you. You are Sarah Fosio Davis, and your business is Accurate Office Help.
Right. That's me.
Awesome. So tell us a bit about your business, Sarah.
So I've been in business for almost 20 years. Started out when my kids were little babies. I wanted to stay home with them and just been keeping at it since then.
Nice, nice. That's quite common, isn't it? We hear that quite a bit from accountants and bookkeepers who run their business at home.
It's a great job for that kind of thing. So it's worked out really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so I'm not too sure if you're aware, but today we are talking about adding systems into our business. And I would like to speak to you and ask you a couple of questions about some myths. Stuff that we hear all the time.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Let's do it.
Okay, right on. Great. So, a common myth we hear quite often is that systemizing won't help me because my business is already, say, 10, 15, 20 plus years old.
Yeah.
So why, after all of these years, because you've been running your business for quite some time, would you say now is a good time to add systems to your business?
You know, I realized, so after like I said, my kids are, I started my business when they were young, and now it's gotten to the point where they don't need me anymore. You know, I was a taxi and now they've both got their license, so I'm not even a taxi anymore. So I've been wanting to focus more on my business in the recent, past, whatever. I realized that I was feeling a lot of unnecessary anxiety over my business, and it stemmed from feeling frazzled and disorganized. Implementing my systems or implementing systems within my business, my system within my business has dramatically reduced that anxiety. I know what I'm supposed to be doing and in what order I'm supposed to be doing it. It's been great.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. That's awesome. I get you when you say that, because the biggest thing for me as well was knowing the order.
Yeah, it's amazing how much that relieves the anxiety and quite honestly makes you look more professional to your clients too.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, okay, let's do this. Oh wait, no, we should have done this first, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Good, very good points, very good points. So another myth we hear quite often is that implementing a system will take too long.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to that?
Don't overcomplicate things, people. I bet you, and kind of think about this, I bet you that there are a lot of big bookkeepers out there that have systems already in place and they just don't even realize it. If you think about when you, like kind of an analogy, when you get up in the morning and you go to brush your teeth, your toothbrush is in the same spot every morning, your toothpaste is in the same spot every morning, you do things in the same order, and a lot of times you don't even think about what you're doing, you just do it. Why can't you do that with your bookkeeping business?
Yeah, fair point.
When you do a bank reconciliation, You do certain things in a certain order. And if you just document that, you've already started establishing your system. And honestly, you don't even have to write it down. Just do a video recording of it, right? Record yourself doing the process, and boom, you've now documented your system. It doesn't have to take long.
That's great. Yeah. Zoom isn't just for meetings anymore, right? We can record ourselves doing our work, and there's our system. Yeah,
Zoom is your friend. Utilize it.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, you know what? I always enjoy talking to you. It has been just like any other day. It's a pleasure to speak with you today, and I'm very grateful that you decided to come on and share your knowledge with all of our listeners today. So, as the one final piece de resistance, as they say,
yep.
If anyone is on the fence about implementing systems in their business, what would you say?
Do it now. Don't wait. Don't regret. If I would have known to do it back when I started my business, how much anxiety and just effort would I have relieved over all these years? Do it now. Doesn't matter if you've had all that time in your past. Do it now.
Awesome. Great advice. Well, you heard it here, everybody. Sarah says, do it now.
Do it now.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Janet. It's been a pleasure.
Bye. Been a pleasure. Bye for now. What did you think about that interview with Sarah? Let me know in the comments. Awesome. I really do hope that interview with Sarah helped to dispel some myths we commonly hear about systemizing your business. And now I'm going to repeat myself, because if you didn't hear me before, you can hear me now. It's important to understand that regardless of where you are in your business journey, adding systems will bring structure, organization, and clarity to your business. So, with that being said, I would like to ask you another question. What does your ideal work week look like? Tell me in the comments. Ask yourself, how many days per week do I want to work? How many hours per day? Do I want a team, or will I be a solopreneur? Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you. I'm enjoying your comments. Perfect. Because here's the thing. Do you remember at the beginning when I asked you to identify your why, and I said we need to keep our end goal in mind? Well, when I asked myself these questions, I realized that I wanted a 4-day work week. And I can honestly tell you that because of systemizing my business, that is exactly what I have now. My firm is open 9 to 4, Monday to Thursday. It's allowed me to design boundaries that each of my clients are aware of. For example, they now know how and when to hand in their paperwork. They now know when their files will be completed and when to expect reports. So that gives them peace of mind so they can focus on running their business. And they do not have to stop what they're doing to ask me, when will they see reports? So in reality, systemizing not only gives me my time back, but it also gives my clients their time back. Recently, I signed up to be a part of the Scotiabank Women's Initiative Mentor Program, which means that I volunteer 1 to 2 hours per month to mentor a woman entrepreneur who wants to learn how to start and run her own business. And it's also a 12-month program. So I know I'm doing this for the next year. And I do love it because sometimes everyone just needs a little help to get going. Because again, you don't know what you don't know, right? So it's my way of giving back to the business community. And it's about empowering women to be their own boss, which I truly love, and I could likely talk about it all day, but I digress. The one thing I want to focus on is, how did I know I had time to be that mentor? You guessed it, because my business is systemized. And also, at the beginning, I mentioned that I'm a certified Profit First professional. Well, again, by systemizing my business, I was able to document the tasks which I now have a team member do for me. So my system allows me to delegate to my team member the actual work so that I can focus on the cash flow coaching side of my business. But that's enough about me. Let's hear from Jennifer about how systemizing her business has benefited her firm. So again, I'm going to share my screen and let's listen to that little interview. Hi, Jennifer. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Janet.
Wonderful. It's so great to have you here today. I'm so excited to talk to you. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to introduce you to Jennifer Hume. She is the owner and CEO of her own firm called Coronation Bookkeeping. So welcome to my presentation today, Jennifer. I'm very grateful that you were able to take the time out of your busy schedule to talk with me today.
Well, thank you very much for having me today, Janet. I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you. So Jennifer, can I call you Jen?
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. I like shortening names. So Jen, we're just gonna have a quick chat about your business. And the theme of this presentation that we're talking about today is systemizing your business. So before we get started, can you just tell us a little bit about your business?
Absolutely. So Coronation Bookkeeping was started by myself about 7.5 years ago. And it was after I was laid off from yet another job. I had decided at the time that I was no longer going to allow others to dictate my future and that I was going to start working for myself. So here we are 7 years later, thankfully.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. I love that line you just said of no longer allow other people to dictate your life. That right there is freedom, right?
Absolutely. Being your own boss is definitely freedom. It's the hardest thing you'll do, but it's the most rewarding. It's like being a parent.
Oh, I totally agree with that because we're both moms, so we can totally relate to that. Yeah. So where were you? So you've been in your business for 7 years. So tell me, before you systemized, where were you before you systemized? Like what made you give you the decision to finally do this?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me was I feel like I was like a lot of entrepreneurs. I never really intended to have staff, but I got to a point where I was so busy that I had 2 people working for me. And I thought that they would just know everything that I knew and I could just hand the work over to them and they would just do it exactly like me. And so I was starting to get very frustrated after a few months because I was getting asked the same questions over and over and over again, or I was noticing the same kind of errors or things were starting to fall behind in certain areas. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to hire again. And it wasn't until I decided to systematize that I realized I did not need to hire anybody else, that I needed to make sure to get down what was in my head, down into workflow. And once I've done that, we've really eliminated a lot of questions. We're able to do our work on time every month now, so things don't necessarily get, they don't fall behind unless it's on the client and not us. And so we're much better off now.
Oh, wonderful. So basically what I'm hearing is that because of systemizing your business, what you thought you needed, which was hire more people, actually lessened you actually hiring a person because you systemized and it put everything for you in chronological order and you realized how the work could be done without another person.
Correct. And it's really freed up myself from instead of trying to remember payroll dates and source deductions and all the government remittances that we have for all of our clients on a monthly basis. Instead of making sure that I was remembering about it, we have it now in a workflow system so that we can see not only who for example, we're working on today and tomorrow, but, who else's work is coming up as well. And so it allows us to actually hit those deadlines early instead of just being on time, which is really, really nice.
That is really nice. Yeah, that is really nice. So where would you say you are now? So it's been a couple of years since you implemented your system.
Yeah.
So what's been happening in your business since you fully systemized?
Well, the nice thing is it eliminated the need to have to hire someone else. We've still been able to take on more work. But because we're not dealing with confusion and questions all the time, it actually allows us to bring on more work with the same amount of people. And to be honest, I just come back from a 5-week vacation. I was in Italy and for 5 weeks. Granted, I did work one day per week kind of thing. But my staff were amazing. They handled everything for me while I was away, and I've been able to come back after 5 weeks off and know that none of my clients missed a payroll deadline, and none of them missed their government remittances or their year ends or their monthly P&Ls or the myriad of things that we do as bookkeepers on a daily basis for our clients. And so it was very rewarding to me to be able to come back and be very thankful for the fact that I did systematize a few years ago, because I would never have been able to go away for 1 week, let alone 5, if I didn't put the time in those few years ago.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. 5 weeks living in Europe, and you were all able to do that because of systemizing your business. That is just amazing. And maybe on another episode, we'll have to dive deep into what it was like to live in Italy for 5 weeks. But for this presentation, it's just a matter of you were able to do it because you systemized your business. And you've been systemized for a couple of years, so it's all worked out for you. So that's amazing, Jennifer. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today, Janet. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a very good pleasure talking. I always enjoy talking to you as well, Jen. Thank you so much. And I'm going to let you go now so you can go back to your day. But again, thank you for being here, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Oh, I hope you enjoyed that talk with Jen as much as I did. Let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy that talk? Did anything she say resonate with you? Awesome. So this now brings us to the end of our time together. I hope you got some value out of spending your time here with me today. And I am going to end my talk with a line that I wrote for the members of our Accelerate to Advisor community, and that is, my business was an obscurity of what it could be, and it is now a reality of what it can be. Enjoy the rest of this amazing summit. Thank you, everybody, for spending your time with me here today.